Yisrael Hashem Elohei Yankel. The name of God should support you. Yishlach Ezraha Mekaidesh. And he should send help to you from his holy chamber in the base of Mikdash, Mitzin Yisadeka, and strengthen you from Zion, from the base of Mikdash, that means. He should bring to mind all your offerings, your devotions, your sacrifices, and he should grant all your heart's requests graciously, and send help from his holy place. He should grant all your heart's requests and enable you to fulfill all your good decisions. Let us rejoice in your salvation, Hashem, and let us raise the banner of Hashem on high. Adonai, Hashem should fulfill all your heart's requests. Now I know, says David the Melech, Ki Heshia Adonai Mashiach, that Hashem saves, will save, and will continue to save his anointed one. Some come with chariots, tanks, trucks, and some with horses, cavalry. We come with the name of God on our lips. They stumbled and fell. We rose up, and we are stalwart. We're holding our position of belief in Hashem and commitment to serve Him. Adonai Hashem should answer us because we are faithful to Him. Despite everything, we stick to it. Okay, we're in the middle of chapter 13. We're finishing up. We're discussing the question. If love and fear are the essence of our davening, they are the wings that enable our prayers to fly. How do I know if I'm not just fooling myself? Am I really accomplishing anything? Is it really true what I'm doing? Is there any truth in it? Is it just a bluff? Now, we like to say the truth is absolute, but at the same time, we know the truth is relative. Because, yeah, your davening is absolutely true, but would you compare your davening to the Rebbetzin? A person asks the Rebbetzin for a bracha, and it's fulfilled. Would you think that you could do such a thing? You wouldn't. You never know. There's a saying, the blessing of an ordinary person should never be frowned upon, should never be ignored. Sometimes a blessing from a simple person is more powerful than a blessing from a great scholar. Not just sometimes, most of the time, because the unlettered person is going to surely be sincere. On the other hand, when people came and asked the bracha, like there's a well-known story of a person who desperately needed a bracha for a member of his family and came to the Rebbe's house and rang the bell. The Rebbe wasn't available, and the Rebbetzin answered the door, asked what he wanted. He gave her the message, and the whole thing turned around. And the child who was in danger, his life was saved. The young man who came to the house, which, by the way, was never done. People never went to the Rebbe's house. He wanted to communicate with the Rebbe. He had an office, he had secretaries. It didn't bother him in his private area, in his home. But this was a desperate situation in the middle of the night, and the situation reversed for the better. So he wrote a letter of thanking the Rebbe, because it was short. It was the Rebbe's bracha. The Rebbe had communicated it to him, but in fact, the Rebbe said, "Why are you giving this to me? She can also give brachas. She's the daughter of a Rebbe. She's the granddaughter of a Rebbe. She's the great-granddaughter of a Rebbe. She can give brachas. This letter belongs to her. It's for her, not for me." Did the Rebbe give a bracha at all? We don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. But when the Rebbe says she can also give brachas, and you give a bracha, would you compare your bracha to the Rebbe's bracha? No. It would be presumptuous. Maybe the Rebbe would say it isn't presumptuous. But you see, there are different levels. And even though you wouldn't compare the quality, the refinement, the depth of a blessing that you might give to somebody to the blessing that the Rebbe would give, but then there are other levels of sincerity and so on. And the point is that on your level, where you're at, your prayer, your blessing could be absolutely true. Would it compare to the blessing of the Rebbe or the Rebbe's? No. But for you, that's no more is expected of you than to be sincere and honest and truthful to the level that you're on. And that's what he's saying here on page 206. Where he asks the question, how is it possible for the same level of service to be considered a true service for tzaddikim, but not a true service for someone who's not a tzaddik? Isn't truth an absolute? That's the question. And he explains that the quality of truth is to be found on every level. Every level is a level. Some people are on the level where the only mitzvah they know to do is to light a Shabbos candle. I had an uncle who he liked to make jokes. He fancied himself to be a comedian. He loved to make jokes. In the early years of the state of Israel, somebody, or even before, somebody wanted to go and help the Jewish people living there to survive all the forces that were against them. And so he managed to get a boat to take him close to the shores of the land, and he swam to the beach. And the defense forces, the Haganah, at that time, came and arrested him. They came with their guns. Maybe he was a terrorist. Maybe he was who knows what. He didn't speak Hebrew. He didn't know anything. He just knew he was a Jew. He wanted to help out. They came after him with guns, and there was a war going on. The Jewish people were fighting against the British. Were in control of the Middle East, and the Jewish people were trying to stake their claim, our claim in the land. And this person just raised his hand. The only thing he knew, he says, "Gefilte fish." Well, that was my uncle's joke, but it's probably a true story. And there are other stories like that too. Like somebody came out of Russia and had no documentation, came to Israel and claimed that she was Jewish. But she had no documentation, no proof whatsoever that she was Jewish. And so they were questioning her. Did you ever hear any Yiddish spoken in the home? No. Were there any Yiddishkeit being observed in your home? No. Did people come and gather and say, take a drink together with your father, your grandfather? She said yes. And what did they say? So she said some of the nice juicy expressions that they used. And they said, she's Jewish. I'm not going to repeat the expressions that she quoted. They were pretty rough. But she wouldn't have known otherwise. And they accepted that. So there's a level. Everything has a level. Her level was sincere, whatever it was. The girl comes into the Machon and lights the Shabbos candle for the first time. She's overwhelmed. It's so beautiful. It's so wonderful. And she wondered, how have I been missing out all my life? That's her level. Does it compare? In its sincerity, it can compare. You see, so that's what he's saying. Every level has its core, its essential core of truth on that level. And there's a beautiful analogy for this, which is in the Mishkan. The way the Mishkan was put up. I've mentioned it before. I'll make a drawing now to show you. A normal way of building, if you want to build, you put up a plank here, and you put boards. You lay the boards one on top of the other, right? And you nail them into the plank, and you secure them, and you build walls. And on top of these walls, you build a building. Correct? You with me? Right? That's how buildings go up. And then maybe we'll put bricks on the outside and so on. The Mishkan wasn't built that way. The Mishkan was built in a most unusual manner. For the Mishkan, they took trees with them. They took timber out of Egypt. And there's a long Rashi about it. That Yaakov Avinu, when Yaakov Avinu came down to Egypt, he brought these trees with him. What kind of trees? Acacia trees. What are acacia trees? I don't know. I looked it up. I saw there's a certain kind of tree that grows in that climate. It's very tall. And then it has a lot of growth at the top like that. You see them pictures of Egypt and desert countries like that. This is kind of a tree. So it's called acacia. It's also translated some places as cedar, but these don't look like cedar trees to me. But they're nice tall trees. And it says Yaakov brought these trees with him because he knew prophetically that they were going to need them to build the Mishkan. And after 400 years, they took them out of Egypt with them and they worked on them and they straightened them and they made planks. So now I'm going to erase the leaves. I'm going to leave this up as an example of a plank. Now, how did they make it stand up? Planks don't just stand. They can lie down, but they don't just stand up. So each plank had a socket. The socket was indented like this and had two little pegs at the bottom like feet. So it's like a human being. And just like you have 10 qualities in you called spheroids, which reflect the 10 sayings of creation. So the whole creation is connected with you. And we have a responsibility to elevate the whole creation. So this beam, now this upright beam, was 10 amas high. And an amma, how much is an amma? An amma, there's two measures. One is 1.5 feet, 1.5 feet. And the other amma is 2 feet. The amma for the Beis Hamikdash was 2 feet. Okay, so they were 20 feet tall. And there were 20 of these beams. And what was the width of the beam? The width was 1.5. Now these sockets here were silver. They are the base. That stands for commitment. Our commitment to God. We don't ask questions. A soldier doesn't ask a question. He follows orders. If a soldier asks questions, it can endanger the whole army. Soldier doesn't. I was once at a Shabbaton with a soldier. He was a veteran of Iraq. And they asked him, did you ever question what you were doing in Iraq? He said, no. If you're going to ask questions, everybody could get killed. Your job, you have a job, you have to do your job faithfully. So here is the beam standing on these two little feet, just like a miniature person, 10 amas high. What are the 10 amas? They stand for the three aspects of the brain, which is Chabad, Homabina Das, and the 7 days of the week, which is the 7 emotional characteristics in your heart. Adds up to 10. We learn all this, chapter 3, and so on. Now, how many beams were there? There were 20 of these beams, 20 of them. They're 1.5 each, so we know how, there were 1.5 amas each, so we know that the whole Mishkan was 30 amas, right? 1.5 times 20 is 30. It's 30 amas long. How did it stand up? Well, we have a second one here. Here's a second beam, also with its own little socket, silver socket, these silver sockets. Silver stands, by the way, the word silver is kesef. Kesef. And the root of the word koisef is an expression of love and longing. My soul yearns for you, Hashem. Kesef means longing. So silver represents a level of love. Gold represents a higher level of love. These were all, they were coated inside and out with gold. And a lot of gold. They took a lot of gold out of Egypt. They left Egypt like a sea without fish. So here we've got we have 20 of these beams like this, all standing up side by side. What kept them from falling over? Why didn't they fall? You stand 20 people up side by side, they're going to fall over. How do these beams not fall over? So the answer is that the Torah tells us they had to have bolts. The beams were built with sockets like that, little sockets. And in these sockets, they inserted poles. Poles of same kind of wood. And these poles were all then covered with gold. You see pictures of the Mishkan, that's what you're going to see. So we have one, let's say we're going to go down all the way. This beam goes, a security beam goes from one end to the other on the outside, one here in the lower third, and we're going to have another one here on the outside in the upper third, and they're giving us security. On the top, we have also some slits here with a cap that's going to link one to the other. So each one is linked in the top so it doesn't fall over. So now we have one set of beams on the outside here, one set of beams on the outside here. What about the middle? So what did they do with the middle? In the middle, now these were separate. You had half a beam, it went halfway. If this was 30 amas, so 15, this beam went 15, and the other beam went 15. Like that. They were held on both sides. Similarly here. But in the middle, inside each beam was 1.5 amas, right? They drilled a hole. And into this hole, they inserted one long beam, which was, well, it's a debate between Rashi and Nachmanides. Rashi is the simple meaning. So it says the simple meaning is it went from one end to the other. So that means it was 30 amas long. Correct? You with me? It's 30 amas long. So this beam was 30. It wasn't 2 beams, it was 1. It was 30 amas long, and it went from one end to the other. Nachmanides, we have 2 great teachers here. Rambam is Moshe. His name is Moshe ben Maimon. His father's name was Maimon. He was a judge. He was a descendant of King David. And we have Nachmanides is Nachman. Moshe ben Nachman. And he decides issues according to Kabbalah, according to their mystical meaning. So when he takes this passage, it says that this middle beam went from end to end. So the Mishkan went like this. You see, the Mishkan continued till the end. And then what? And then it went, you had the back, and then you had the other wall coming to the front. And he said, Nachmanides, called the Ramban. Nachmanides, Nachman. Okay. He says, no, the beam, it was a miracle. The whole thing was a miracle. And the beam went all the way down to the end, turned the corner, and came all the way back. Same beam. Rashi doesn't say that. Rashi says, no, that's not simple meaning. But that's maybe the essential truth in the meaning. There you go. So this middle beam, this whole point of what I'm trying to get across to you now is this idea of the middle beam. The middle beam is called the middle bolt. The middle bolt. The word for bolt is briach. Ha-tichon. Ha-tichon. Tichon means the middle bolt. And it says this is a symbol of truth. Truth is the middle bolt that goes from one end to the other. And every beam that goes through, it goes through the middle point of that beam. So this is a symbol that's brought here in the Tanya and in Kabbalah. That truth goes through the middle point of every level, whatever that level represents. Whatever that level is, the middle beam is going to go through the essence and core of what that level is. And what does he say here? He says here in the middle of page 206, see 1, 2, 3, third paragraph. The matter is now explained as follows. The quality of truth is to be found on every level. This is the middle beam. Truth means the essence and the core of what that level is. What is the essence of that level? And truth is defined as that which agrees with the essence of that particular level where it is being measured. And the truth, and we're looking at the levels as horizontal. What if I am going to pile them up like this? So then I'm going to have here, this is going to be the level of the tzaddik. This is the tzaddik, the complete tzaddik. And this will be the level of the not complete tzaddik. Not complete. Serving Hashem with love and fear. And this will be the level of a Beinoni, for instance. And so on. So at each level, and we have thousands of, each one has thousands of levels. And each level is going to have its middle point. And the middle point of this level here, of level 1, is going to be in harmony with the middle point of level 2. And that's going to be in perfect harmony with the middle point of level 3, because every level is the true level, the true point of that level is going to just be a perfect match for the true point of every other level, up to the highest levels, up to Hashem's level, up to beyond Hashem's level. What's beyond Hashem? Well, beyond what we talk about. Beyond Chachma's Keser. Beyond Keser is Panemius Keser. Beyond Panemius Keser is Ein Sof. It keeps going. It's infinite. Okay, and the core and essence of every single level is going to go together, and that's why when they asked the Rebbe, "What's your favorite prayer?" He said, "Moda Ani." The first thing you say when you wake up in the morning, you go like this. It's not a Christian symbol. It's halacha. You put your hands like this, and you say, "I give thanks unto you, Hashem." Don't even mention Hashem's name. I give thanks unto you. Why? Because you gave me back my life. I was gone. You gave me back my life. I have to thank you. I'm going to enjoy my life more than anything else that there is in the world. I'm going to enjoy being alive. It's the most essential point of pleasure that there is to be alive. So the first thing we do is we give thanks. The Rebbe says, that's my favorite prayer. Because that's the prayer every other prayer is going to stand on. That's your connection to the essence of you connects with the essence of God. Beyond any level. Because that's the middle, the essential point. That's what essence is. Questions. Got to have a lot of questions though. This is, if there's a beautiful, I recommend to you, a beautiful pamphlet, which is a sikha that the Rebbe said one year on Yud Tes Kislev, on the Rosh Hashanah of Hasidus. And that pamphlet is called On the Essence of Hasidus, on learning the essence of Hasidus. It was translated by Rabbi Greenberg from Buffalo with notes by Miss Handelman. And notes upon notes explain it, but it brings out this idea very, very beautifully. Now, a story. When I first met a chassid for the first time, he wanted to cut me down to size, that I should become, receptive to what he had to teach me. So he said, how would you define truth? I told you the story that I learned not to mess with him. He was very clever, and I knew I could never win an argument with him, so I didn't try. So he said, how would you define truth? I said, you'll have to tell me that one. So he said, truth is that which agrees with itself on every side. Truth will always agree with truth. The truth on any level will agree with the truth on the other level. So you see that it's very close to what the Rebbe writes here. Truth is defined as that which agrees with the essence and core of that particular level that you're measuring. And this is so on all the tens of thousands. A myriad, you know how much a myriad is? It's not a pyramid. A myriad is 10,000. You should have 10,000, 10,000s, right? Every spiritual level, we learned about the four worlds, right? There's the world of godliness called Atzilus. Then there's a world where creation begins called Bria, where Bria means creation. And then there's the world of emotions, of forms, where creation begins to express itself in terms of forms of things. Like this table has a spiritual form. Whoever built the first table copied this form. Let me ask you, who made the first wheel? The whole universe is built on wheels. One of the fundamental structures of creation. Who made the first wheel? When I was a kid at camp, there was a camp song. Ezekiel saw a wheel within a wheel within a wheel. Wheel within a wheel. Wheels and wheels and wheels. What would the world be without wheels? You're dragging your Amazon purchases around, Prime in bags. They dispense with wheels. I guess it's easier to take things around in bags than in wheels. But anyway, wheels are the prime form. There are tens of thousands of levels of any world. So we're down to the world of feelings. The world of Bria is the world of intellect. That's where the angels have big, brilliant angels. Angels have understanding of godliness. And the world beneath them is the world of forms, where the creations there are called angels. Have tremendously powerful emotions. That's what. So if you daven with a tremendous emotion, your davening will go to that level. And if you daven with, if you learn tremendous amount of Hasidus, and it's in your mind when you daven, it's inspiring you as you daven, then your davening will go up to the world of Bria, where the higher ranks of angels are to be found. But it all starts down here in this physical world called the world of action. This is the only world where two things prevail. Number one, in this world, you could think that there's no creator. You think the world self-created. Comes from itself. Creates itself. Because the creator hides himself in the creation on this level. Because if he doesn't do that, then you can't choose to do a good deed or to do something not a good deed. He has to hide the reality of his creatorship so that we can choose to be on the team. Otherwise, we're robots. We're just programmed. You know, it's like someone has a gun for you. Yeah. You want to give charity? You better. Well, then that's not, you didn't choose to do anything. So therefore, he hides, and that gives us the ability to share in his most powerful, what should we say, characteristic. The most powerful thing in the nature of a human being is the power to choose between right and wrong. Every creature, we've mentioned so many times, every creature has wisdom. Tremendous wisdom. Right? What are my favorite examples? A creature that has wisdom.
A cat?
A cat. What's the wisdom of the cat?
He's modest.
It's modest. That's its emotional care. Yeah, what's its wisdom? Any level you drop a cat from, it'll land on its feet. Right? Cat is silent. Cat is a hunter, knows how to hunt, how to survive. See the cats wandering around. How do they survive? What do they survive on? Garbage. They don't have a benefactor. I learned yesterday that Israel has a plague of cats. There are millions of cats. They don't know what to do with them. The Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals doesn't want them to be eliminated. Anyway, so cats have their wisdom. What's another creature that has wisdom? How about birds? What's the wisdom of birds?
Orientation?
What?
How's the orientation? Navigation? Navigation?
Yeah, they navigate from one end of the world to the other. No GPS. They have automatic GPS. And many, many extraordinary things about this. The big birds leave before the young birds are able to make the long journey, and the young birds take an easy journey over land, but they come back over the ocean. They never take that journey again. How do they know who? Okay. What's another example of it? A creature that's made with wisdom. A wild animal. A ferocious animal.
Lion?
A what?
A lion?
A lion. A lion knows how to hunt, right? A lion never goes hunting like people do, just for the sport of killing something. Lion hunts when it's hungry. Wolves know how to hunt in packs. Each creature knows how to fish. Salmon know how to return to the place where they were born. Climbing back up against the currents, waterfalls. How do they do that? And the bears are waiting for them at the top with their open mouths. But they jump right into the mouths of the bears. But enough of them get back to lay their eggs and make a new generation. They lay hundreds, thousands of eggs, and a new generation of salmon comes out. They swim down the river. They go down to the ocean. They spend several years in the ocean, and they find their way back to the entrance to the same place they came from. How do they do that? There's no signposts. It doesn't smell. How do they do it? How about a spider? Anybody here know how to make a spider's web?
No.
How does a spider know? But they can't make a moral decision. They can't think. They have wisdom, but they can't make a decision between right and wrong. That's only possible with the element of choice, and you can only choose when the things to choose between seem equal. So good and bad have to look equally attractive. So you can choose that which is good. How do you know which is good? Your teachers have to teach you. Your parents have to teach you. And you have strong desires to do that which is not good. So you have to acquire the quality of self-discipline. not to do that which you learn is wrong. Okay. So on these 4 levels of worlds, which is the world of intellectual perception, the world of unity with God, the world of intellectual perception, which is called creation, the world of forms, which is the next step down, and the world of action, where God is hidden. Now, on every level, God is hidden. But where he's hidden almost totally is where we are. Because the creations on the higher levels, they perceive God. They perceive God. And so there are stories in Medrash and so other places about tzaddikim who asked to have the revelation of angels, even lower rank angels. They were terrified. They couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle it. It was too overwhelming. The revelation was too overwhelming for them. Or like we learned last week, or the week before, the day the Mishkan was set up, Nadav and Avihu, the sons of Aaron, were great tzaddikim, very righteous people. They were so filled with, and God forgave the Jewish people for the golden calf, and he had instructed them about making for him a sanctuary where they could be together with him and he could be together with them. And they were so overjoyed, so happy, and a fire came down from heaven to accept the offerings that they brought on the altar. It was amazing. And Nadav and Avihu took the most sublime of all offerings, which was incense. No ashes left after that. And they took it into the Holy of Holies to express their unbelievable love and gratitude to Hashem. And what happened? Just same way the fire came out to burn the offering, a fire came out and went in their nostrils, and their souls went out. They couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle it. That's why nobody's allowed to go in there, except on one day a year in Yom Kippur. It's the only time, under certain very carefully delineated circumstances and procedures. So on every one of these levels, the world of unity with God, world of creation, world of emotions, world of action, where we are, there's a middle level of truth. And the middle level of truth on any level, because even in the world of action, therefore, there are levels and levels and levels and levels, but on any level, it's going to agree with the point of truth of every other level. Got it? And this is page 206. This is the quality of Yaakov, our father. The Titan Emes Yaakov. We say in the davening and Uva Letzion, which Uva Letzion. That we said every day. Titan Emet Yaakov. Hashem, you gave truth to Yaakov. Yaakov is called the Briach HaTichain, the middle bolt, which goes from end to end and holds everything in place so it doesn't fall over. So we have the sockets on the bottom, we have the clips on the top, we have the bolts on the outside, 2 bolts above, 2 bolts below, 15 and 15, right? And 1 bolt through the middle bolt. That's Yaakov's, the middle bolt that holds it all together. In spiritual terms, this means that truth passes from the highest level to the lowest level on each and every level, and each level as it passes through the central point of that particular level is the point of truth. And the attribute of truth has no limits because it goes up beyond all levels, goes through all the worlds, up and up and up to the highest point of Chachma. And before Chachma is Rotzain, and then there's exterior Rotzain, which is the creative principle in creation, and then there's inner Rotzain, which is just the delight of perceiving God, and before that is the Iyar, the light of the infinite, and it go, like I said, it goes on, and all the lower gradations and the levels. Next point, which we'll finish up again tomorrow, we'll finish the chapter, is that whatever is lower, it cannot be contained to that which is by that. cannot contain that which is higher, because that's the difference between them. The higher level is greater than the lower level. But there's a catch, that the higher level also contains the lower level, inspires, gives life, so that the feet of the higher level become the reins of the next level down, like a chain links. The lowest level of one link becomes the highest level of the next link down. So the whole is called the great chain of being, the great chain of creation, like a chain. And that's why it says that the feet, the angels, which are compared to animals, their angels are called chayas, animals. There are higher ranks of angels than them. They are called seraphim. Seraphim are seraph. A seraph is the word from the root seraph, to burn. They are burning up the love of God. So the angels, which are like animals, are very excited. They are roaring excitement at their perception of God. You know, like there's certain animals where the owner comes home, they roar with excitement to see the owner is going to give them something. You know, or the horse that goes neigh when it's going to get sugar. So these animals make a lot of noise. They're called chayas, but they're huge. They're intellectually huge. And then the seraphim. So we have in the base of Mikdash, we have the Levium who are singing the whole time. They're like the chayas, and the Levium are the Kohanim. I'm sorry, the Kohanim serve with quiet. They don't say it. Kohanim don't talk. They're like the seraphim, fire, burning up with love. That's level, every level. Okay. So it says the feet, the lowest level of the highest is animals. Like you say, you have a wild kid, you call it Avilda Chaya. He's a wild animal. Wild kids, right? Your parents ever said that?
Yeah.
They probably spoke Yiddish, right? It's Avilda Chaya. He's a wild animal, this kid. So the feet of the highest contain within them the whole of creation. They're the feet of the highest are higher than anything else in the whole of creation. And they are the source of life and energy for all the lower levels of creation, down to the snail, little snail in its shell, or the mosquito in its pond. Okay, that's it. We did chapter 13. We'll come back to start chapter 14 tomorrow.
Thank you,
Make a
Rabbi
bracha
Pape.
on chapter 13.
Thank you, Rabbi Pape.
Yes. Rebbetzin Simcha, how are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you. Thank you.
Nice to see you with us.
Baruch Hashem. Thank you.
Okay, stay with us. Stay with us. We're going to greet Mashiach. Here we go. Baruch atah Al koil mashav ras. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. Yes, ma'am.
Rabbi Pape, you know it's Yael's birthday? Yael.
Yael,
Birthday.
today your neshama came into this world?
Yes.
In the Hebrew calendar?
Yes.
Yes. Wow. Special day. Well, what does it say in Hayom Yom? I didn't take a look yet.
It's about to do a mitzvah for a Jew, to do something good for another Jew.
What?
It's about doing something good about another Jew.
Oh, Abbas Yisrael, there you are. That's why you have such a smile. That's the secret of the smile. But wonderful start. It's a gift. It's a tremendous gift from heaven. The word in Yiddish is a geschmack. and all the preparations we make in raising a family are geared